Hello, my name is Catherine Cruz, and my service learning project was completed at St. James Catholic Church. In this presentation, I will explain information about the parish and the importance of faith community nursing. I hope you find it informative. St. James Parish was founded in 1917 by Redemptorist priests to minister to the underserved Catholic population in northern Lancaster County. Today, St. James is made up of more than 3,600 parishioners, comprised of approximately 1,300 families. The parish ministries focus strongly on the call from Christ to support all around us with care and compassion. There are multiple parish ministries which give parishioners opportunities to take an active role in bettering our community, including the Social Justice Network, Youth Ministry, Religious Education, and Respect Life Committee. Faith community nurses address health needs much as a community health nurse would. The focus of the ministry is to promote health within the context of the faith community's values, beliefs, and practices. This means health promotion and illness prevention, but also incorporates spirituality as an important part of overall well-being. Faith community nursing uses skills and nursing practice such as preventative screenings, education, and navigation of existing community resources to help build healthy communities. I chose to help with the ministry initially to assist with this mission and develop a teaching tool to present to the parish. However, the ministry began to fall by the wayside and needed a new leader. I became that leader and changed my service learning project to the rebuilding of the ministry. While many denominations have their form of faith community nursing, the shared statement of the identity for the Catholic Health Ministry was developed by the Catholic Health Association of the United States. The Church's health ministry commits to promote and defend human dignity, attend to the whole person, care for the poor and vulnerable persons, promote the common good, act on behalf of justice, steward resources, and act in communion with the Church. This project presented me with a unique opportunity regarding population. With approximately 1,300 families making up the parish, there are multiple health issues to be addressed along the lifespan. Healthy People 2020 addresses a few priority topics referred to as leading health indicators. The leading health indicators which most apply to this parish include access to health services, clinical preventative services, nutrition, physical activity and obesity, reproductive and sexual health, and substance abuse. Other health concerns which apply to St. James parishioners include those related to specific generations. For example, the elderly may face loneliness and age-related physical challenges. Middle-aged parishioners may face the stress of caring for their parents and their children, and younger parishioners may face developmental problems associated with adolescence. Many people also face illnesses, whether they are chronic or newly diagnosed. Much has been spoken about lately regarding the abuses carried out and hidden by the Church in the past, which is causing difficulty for many people, whether they themselves were victims or they feel betrayed by their faith. The very basis of faith community nursing is to address the spiritual, psychological, physical, and social dimensions of the person. According to Pappas, Rogic, and King, there are 7 functions of a faith community nurse: health educator, personal health counselor, referral advisor, health advocate, integrator of faith and health, developer of support groups, and volunteer coordinator. The following slides will show how these functions fit into the areas listed here. Faith community nursing requires a lot of coordination of activities and volunteers. The nurse may develop support groups to be led by the nurse or others. The nurse may also develop educational materials to be shared in small education settings. Volunteers are necessary for a successful parish health ministry, and ensuring that appropriate help is available for activities is a big part of the job. Advocacy is an important part of the faith community nurse's role. Here you can see some of the rationale behind the Catholic Health Association's political advocacy. The Church has very specific standings on many of the nation's most talked about issues, including abortion, euthanasia, Medicaid, and gun control. Advocates work in both local and national governments to ensure those beliefs based on the teaching of Christ are upheld. According to Jones, the focus of the faith community nurse is to promote health within the context of a faith community's values, beliefs, and practices. In the parish setting, trust and rapport is already established, which can give the faith community nurse a leg up in establishing healthy communication with those in need of services. The faith community nurse cares for self and others as an expression of God's love. It is the role of the faith community nurse to ensure that all teachings and advisory information is given in a way that reflects the teachings of the Church and the basic belief of caring for others as you would care for yourself. At St. James, the parish health ministry is a volunteer organization whose very small budget is funded by the parish. The main focus related to economic roles is to provide preventative services such as education and screening, which could lead to lower future health spending for parishioners. This can also lead to reduction in health disparities in the community and provide continuity of care. I had been a volunteer with the parish health ministry at St. James for a few months when we received notification that the ministry was in need of a new leader. I decided to take on this role and to alter my initial plan for my Capstone project. The first thing was to meet with the person who was stepping down as leader to learn what leading the ministry entailed. As previously referenced, the role of the faith community nurse is considered a specialty with defined scope of practice. I was given a large amount of existing resources to sort through and told I could take the ministry in whatever direction I felt called. I was instructed on what services had worked in the past, both for parishioners and our health ministry volunteers, and some ideas for possible future projects. I was then shown the things that were necessary for the health ministry and taught how to ensure the AED unit was functioning, which must be done monthly. First aid kits are available in various areas of the church, and supplies must be replenished as needed. I was also shown where there were educational materials located for parishioners to take. I am continuing as the head of the parish ministry and have made steps toward organizing an education session in conjunction with the Lancaster Coalition regarding the opioid crisis. Information pamphlets will be included in the parish bulletin prior to a speaker coming, and the parish will host the surrounding community to address this growing health concern. The current plan is to have this information session in early May. There are many opportunities for future teaching, some formal, some less formal. In a previous course, I created a teaching project for alcohol overuse and abuse teaching and informal screening, which I would love to implement sometime in the future. I would also like to work with the LGH Blood Bank to organize a community blood drive during the summer when I know the need is very high from my work in the hospital. Small bulletin inserts, such as a teaching tool I developed for winter safety last month, is a less formal way to incorporate preventative teaching. A concern related to this project is lack of volunteers. A big reason my predecessor gave up the leadership position was a lack of volunteers and the feeling that there was too much to do and not enough hands to complete the work. I've quickly found that it is difficult even to get people to respond to emails regarding the parish health ministry, let alone to actually contribute time and talent. This can be very limiting when trying to implement a viable ministry. Since I was just starting out and learning a lot very quickly for this role, I tried to keep my goals fairly simple, but also to prioritize what was really needed to get the health ministry going again. With that in mind, my first goal was, by the end of the service learning project, I will develop a pamphlet on hand hygiene and infection control to present to parishioners at St. James Catholic Church. By the end of the service learning project, I would identify 3 roles and/or responsibilities of the parish health ministry. And by the end of the service learning project, I would complete an accurate listing of current and active parish health ministry volunteers. My first objective, to develop a teaching tool to include in the parish bulletin, was completed in late fall of 2018. It focused on hand hygiene and infection control in church. There are several opportunities for germ sharing during the Mass, most notably during what is known as the Kiss of Peace. Just before communion, the congregation is encouraged to share a sign of peace. This generally means shaking the hands of those in the pews closest to you. Unfortunately, during cold and flu season, that can be problematic, particularly for those who are immunocompromised. I created this teaching tool and included it as a handout in the Parish Sunday Bulletin. I ensured that it was at a reading level that could be appropriate to most parishioners and made it eye-catching and informative. My second objective was to identify 3 roles and/or responsibilities of the faith community nurse. Through research for different projects for the parish and the information which I received from my predecessor, I was able to identify many, but the main goals I have focused on are: first, health education in line with Healthy People 2020 leading health indicators. According to Healthy People 2020, 1 in 5 Americans lack insurance. Simple interventions like short 1-hour education sessions can result in health-promoting behaviors. The second, screening for health promotion and illness prevention, includes the monthly blood pressure screening, which will be continuing in our church. And then third, referrals to appropriate agencies as needed. Referrals may be indicated if a parishioner comes to speak about facing physical or mental health problems for themselves or family members, concerns regarding things like management of diabetes and other chronic illnesses, and any concerning results from routine screenings which need further assessment. Objective 3, complete an accurate list of current active members of the parish health ministry, has been the hardest part of the implementation of this project. In fact, much to my embarrassment, one of the people on the existing email list I received had recently passed away. I have received very few responses to the attempts I've made at contacting the members on the list. Of the 25 members, just 2 participated in a planning meeting which was held earlier this year. In the meantime, I have implemented many of the projects on my own. I have reached out to the other ministries, including Parish Council and Social Justice Network, to lend a hand for bigger projects. I am hopeful that as the ministry becomes more active, we may attract some newer members. It has only been about 6 months since I have taken over the health ministry, but I have seen some impact on the parishioners. In the past, there had been regular monthly blood pressure screenings, but those had stopped for approximately a year. The first Sunday that I restarted the screenings, we had 7 parishioners lined up after the 9 a.m. Mass. When I approached Parish Council with the idea of the speaker from Lancaster joining forces, they immediately voted to go forward, and several members of the council have approached me to let me know they are willing to help. I believe as I invest more time into the ministry, it will have a positive impact on the population. While the reformation of the health ministry has been a little stressful at times, for the most part, I can work on my own time. Learning the scope of practice and the potential positive impact of faith community nursing has been very enlightening. I really am very excited to continue with this ministry and in gradually building more of a relationship in the church with parishioners. Professionally, this has been a huge lesson in leadership. I have been in some leader roles before, such as shared governance and being a facilitator in the clinical setting. However, implementing this project has pushed me to a leadership role that I have not yet been in, giving me the opportunity to plan, organize, and manage a project from start to finish. It has allowed me to collaborate with leaders of other ministries and taught me a lot about how some parts of leadership can be more stressful and disappointing, while other parts can be remarkably rewarding. Overall, I believe this has been and will continue to be a very beneficial learning experience. Finally, I leave you with my favorite teaching and the one that guides not only my nursing care, but all I do. Thank you for your time.